You hear the law, you talk the law, and you know your rights like never before. It's about 20 minutes gone past the hour of 12 o'clock. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to the afternoon drive. Yes. It is a terrific Thursday afternoon right here on the dial. My name is Nicci and Eve, and of course I'm not alone in the studio. I've got my homegirl, delectable Eve.
Why did you turn off my mic?
Hi. Why? Just start attacking me. That's unfair. Like, why you behaving like this?
You know, I'm trying to behave myself now, but don't let me come for you. Do not let me come for you.
That's a warning.
But yes,
see,
it is definitely
threatening me. My lawyer, you'll be here for my lawyers.
Only.
Let me just say that.
How about if I hijack your lawyers to work for me?
You can't do that.
It's to do like shock observation. Hey, I mean, it's a beautiful Thursday afternoon, and of course, it is a few hours before the weekend.
Yep.
Although some people's weekend actually starts today.
Jealous.
So.
I wish it were me, but hey.
But sadly,
I'm happy to be here. Yes, it's
are.
a terrific Thursday right here on the dial. Welcome to the Law FM Entertainment Daily Show. Of course, you know, this is a show where we've got all the gist for you, from hot topics to entertainment news. Everything that goes on in the entertainment industry, we talk about it right here on the show. And today, you know, I used to say that low-key and Thursdays are like kind of special days because let me be honest, some things that happen on Thursdays are... You can't categorize it as special.
True that.
Today on the show, we have a special guest.
Drama
in
please.
the studio with us. Yes. Someone special in the studio. So if you're a Nollywood person, you definitely know him. If you're not a Nollywood person and you've seen like up to maybe 5 Nollywood movies, bet that you know him as well.
And a few TV series that sometimes you want to smash the person through the screen. But I mean, it's his character. It's
yes.
I mean,
absolutely. I mean, talk about someone who has range. You know, someone who starred in the number 1 Netflix series in 20 countries, and the series that ranked 9 on Netflix globally.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm talking about Blood Sisters.
Of course.
But the person that I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. And also, if you've also seen Castle and Castle, then you understand who we're talking about.
See.
So obviously, we love him, and
Absolutely.
we love him, and we love and hate him, or hate and love him at the same time. But
sometimes you just like,
but then again, be like, okay, it's what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to us this beautiful afternoon on a terrific Thursday here on Law FM 103.9, the one and the only, drummer please, Deyemi Okanlawon!
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Welcome, babe. Welcome to this.
See him blushing, my God.
It was the laugh from me. It was Lord God.
You know those laughter that, like, when your pocket is full, your laughter is you cannot what? Nah, you laugh differently.
It's definitely different. It sounds different.
Hey.
Rich man's laugh. You see, unlike us that will laugh and all our teeth, our brains, they will know that we're not mumbling.
Don't worry.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you here.
Yes, welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show today. You know, one of my favorites, I have a different favorite moments from the series, but one of my favorite moments was the fight scene.
How does a man in a bada and his cap do not follow beat up an assassin?
He had enough time to take off his coral beads,
Yeah.
and then and that blade, his character is very questionable, to be honest, because I'm not a hired assassin, but
come
from
on.
the beginning I was counting how many things that he was doing.
Just
I was like, no, this guy is going to be killed. So when they beat him, I was like, yes, of course they beat you.
Well, but speaking of that scene, now behind the scenes, how were you guys able to pull off that fight choreography? Because I know it was a lot of work.
Do you know how
It
to
was
fight?
intense. Yeah, so first of all, I do a little bit of karate.
Okay.
It's Shotokan karate. It's a different type of karate. But for the film, for Blood Sisters, the series, I wanted to change up my fight style. So I got into the gym about 3 months earlier, and I took up boxing.
Okay.
Yeah. I was also like lifting pretty heavy weights to bulk up, because we wanted the character to have a very menacing presence, you know, and well, that's the result. The fight scene actually didn't go quite right because because we got hurt. So there was a part where if you watch it closely, the guy who played Blade, Morris, there was a headbutt.
It was not in the
and my
plan.
guy Morris went to go and overdo the headbutt and made contact with my head. Unfortunately for him, his head swelled. So his head swelled up, and we couldn't shoot the scene again. We had to come back like another day and redo the whole thing.
Man, that was a lot of stuff. Now, because I know that, you know, everybody was surprised. Like, I mean, with the way the assassin walked into the hotel, like, yo, I'm about to,
Bad
you
guy.
know, the bad guy.
So that assassin is that's like what you order versus what you get, you know. And then of course, you know, the character Femi is already dodgy, doesn't do anything right. So of course he's gonna hire the wrong person to. So he went to go look for Agbero.
I mean, Uncle B played a better assassin.
Somebody that came to a wedding that was supposed to be undercover and you were in leather jacket. And you're looking at the camera. That was sports.
That was the thing for me, because first of all, you were supposed to, first thing as an assassin, I'm not sounding like one, but you're supposed to blend
what
in.
you're doing.
Well,
You're supposed to
keep it going.
But I mean,
These are the catching those rappers.
they'll just be talking
expose themselves.
anyhow.
Okay,
So
keep going.
I mean, you're supposed to blend in. It was a wedding. The least you could have done. Okay, you don't want to wear agbada, wear kaftan. Or wear something. Then
No, my guy
you want
came
to
in
go
with
out
that
and commit to go and do a mission. You came with hatchets. You came with knife. You came with dagger. You came. I'm like,
You
bro.
never even use one.
What? Do you understand? Now, first of all, the one that intrigued me also was the beginning of the series. You know, we see this character, Kola, is a wonderful working businessman. We see him sketching the picture of his bride, and I'm like, oh, this is so
talented.
cute. Like, my God, he's actually going to present to her on her wedding day. And then we realize he's a psycho.
Yeah.
So how were you able to, because I know that could have not been easy, having to separate yourself in reality from that character. How were you able to do that?
So, wow. Kola was arguably one of the most difficult characters that I've ever had to pull off. And it was both physically difficult, as I said. We had to, rework my whole workout schedule and program, and then now include boxing, which is not easy at all. So on the physical side, there was that. And then the psychological part of it. So for those, quite a few people know me. I was very well brought up, and I thank my parents for that. Like, I was trained properly. There's things you don't do. For example, you do not act violently towards people that you love. As a matter of fact, the only time you're allowed to act violently, and you are allowed as a man, is when you're defending yourself and the people that you love. So you never turn your fist, towards someone that you love. And that is so ingrained in my mind that when I first read the script and I encountered Kola, I was in shock. I was like, because just like you, everything's good, successful, charming young man, handsome.
Next thing.
Yes,
Handsome. The handsome part, successful, and he's doing all this great. And next thing you'd see the punch. I'm like, what the, and then I was done reading the script, and I just couldn't shake off the character, because I was like, this is going to be challenging, and again, I don't pretend. As an actor, I never pretend. Anything you see on screen is actually real. Now, to become, not to act, to become a Kola now becomes a psychological process where you're literally agreeing with everything that the character says, and you cannot judge the character. So you leave your own paradigm in the real world and adopt the paradigm of another character, and it has to be true. So the rage, the anger, the frustration, everything, a lot of the things that you saw in those scenes were not scripted, because we didn't know what Kola was going to do,
Right.
Exactly. So when I got to that scene, I remember feeling very nauseous, knowing what was coming. And I just take my headphones and I just get into a quiet place, and I'll try not to, because my skin will be crawling, because I'm about to, and then I hear action, and then I flip. I just switch it into Kola. So those very deliberate moves of he's removing a watch here, taking off his jacket, none of that was scripted, but that's exactly what Kola would do. And all that time, he was livid. He was angry. I was mad. And the thing is, the only difference between that scene and reality was that there was no impact. That's the only difference. Was that there was no impact. Everything else, the intention, everything was real. And I think it wouldn't, and it helps your scene partner knowing that they're seeing a real life threat. So her response. Amy is such an amazing actress, by the way. I coined a name for her, intense Deyemi Okanlawon, because she's so intense. Amy's notes on her script is more than the script.
Oh wow!
I'm telling you, I'm not feeling insecure.
You need to be calming down.
Because I just try to imagine, because when I first watched Blood Sisters and I saw the character that you played, and then coming from the character who was in Castle and Castle, I'm just like,
or in different other series where he's a lover boy,
or
Swiss guy.
do you understand? Or maybe sometimes his trenchy side just decides to come out and he's an agbero, but but I mean, it's just like the switch was just epic, because I know that that's what it takes to be a versatile actor and all that, but how exactly, because now you gave us an example saying that now for Blood Sisters, you did not actually pretend, like it was everything we saw was real improv, everything, and that is actually great. But psychologically, like you said, how were you able to separate that? Because I can't imagine how, because I know some people's characters stay with them for a long time. How were you able to get over it?
So I learned very early. There's a movie I did called Dinner many years ago.
Okay.
And I carried that character for far too long because I didn't do the work that was required. I just, we'll get over it. I'd done a few films, a few series by that time. But this character, I tell you that there were certain traits that remained in my life for about 4 years. After shooting that film. So I learned during that period that every time you have to go through like a detox process. It's like going to rehab, and it's really about finding your true north, rediscovering yourself. It's a process of meditation. Sometimes you have to go through counseling. You actually have to. This is not a joke. Again, if you're going to do this at a level that, well, for me, that is the highest in the world, because I'm not trying to shortchange myself or the producers that I work with. I'm ready to give 100%, and so to do that, I have to come correct with every character. In this case, it was telling. I literally, and I thank God for Ebony Life and the Netflix team. They made everything so seamless. They separated me from a lot of the other crew members and cast members. I was put in a separate place where, like, literally you come into my room, it's always dark. The lights are always solitary confinement while I was caller. And then afterwards, we were provided counseling for those of us who needed it. And then I stayed away from home for a while, just to get off the majority of that character, that vibe. I got home, and that's so for me, that's the trick. The trick is that home is like my
safe zone.
It's a safe zone, and it's almost like my compass, so once I find my way back there, and I'm immersed in family, I'm right back.
Wow.
And that's it.
Okay. Really interesting. So I mean, the past couple of weeks, what in everybody's mouth is Blood Sisters. Have you seen Blood Sisters? What do you think about the film? And like I said earlier, it became the #1 series in 20 countries, and it ranked number 9 on Netflix globally. Yes. How has that made you feel?
Ooh. Like, every actor's dream is to go international. And it's not even so much popularity in terms of, I want to be known around the world. Is I want to do this work at an international standard, at the highest possible standard in the world. And a lot of people would have thought you have to leave the shores of Nigeria to go and achieve that. And this is the classic case of Nigeria to the world.
Absolutely.
Homegrown, homebred, it was just beautiful to see, and the world has responded. I'm getting fan mail from all over the world, the Caribbeans. I mean, I've done like interviews with Jamaican TV stations, radio stations. I'm doing the UK, France, different people around the world.
We global
fan
now.
mail.
We global now. You know what I mean?
it's interesting. And I'm super grateful for this opportunity. I've always known what I wanted out of my life.
Okay.
And so I'm not surprised by it, but I'm very grateful to at least see the fulfillment of it.
Okay, so we've got a message on the WhatsApp platform. Person says, "Good afternoon, guys. Lovely to have Deyemi in the studio. You ladies should stop gushing over him because you'll make us your regulars jealous." Aww.
Wow.
I want to ask him, has there ever been a backlash from the roles he played from fans, especially, movies that you've played a villain? And the person is also asking, P.S., is there any updates on you playing the Bridgerton role?
So the backstory on that is I was invited to the Netflix Bridgerton event in South Africa.
Yeah.
And
he was looking like all of that.
like
the back
we-
of himself.
We will not
We
be
killed
upset.
it.
We will not be upset.
We won't be
about
upset.
that,
It's okay.
honestly.
It's all right.
if I find my way there, you'll be the first to know. And fingers crossed.
The backlash from...
The backlash.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that I think your fan base is very important, and your fan base is
Absolutely.
actually a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I started off as an actor, not as a popular person, or a socialite. And so people that followed me were pretty serious people, and people who were pretty enlightened. So I guess for them, it was easy for them to see that, okay, this guy's an actor, he's playing a role, and they would be able to separate the two. That's one thing. The second thing is that I always so if you see how I am on social media, it's really a balancing act, because if you're too serious and in all these characters, and then you now come out on social media and you're like this serious guy, there must be something. But all that playfulness, which is who I really am, I put that out there so this guy is just a happy-go-lucky guy, and then when you see the movie, you'll be shocked, but you'll be like, nah, he's just so that's it. And of course recently I've been in scenarios where I remember one time I was out, and then two girls were looking at me, and then one of them walked up to me and says, she was laughing, she's like, guess what, my friend doesn't remember who you are, but she just said she saw you, and she's like, there's something I don't like about this guy. And she forgot that she had seen a movie that I was in.
Oh wow.
I remember going on Twitter the other day, and I said, playing the role of Kola, had more impact, than I cared to remember, care to even relive. Especially mentally, and that while I still firmly believe if a man or a woman, hits another, if a human being hits another human being, justice should be served. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yeah, and this is Law FM. Call your lawyer and lock that person up.
Yes.
But then the flip side, having walked through the shoes of this character and understanding the kind of demons, because really, for somebody to raise their hand against somebody who they truly love, and these people, you cannot question sometimes that these people truly love, their spouses or their friends or whoever it is, and you raise your, there must be something wrong mentally. And having walked through those shoes, I'm like, you have a bit of empathy, not sympathy. Sympathy is, let me let you go. No, empathy is that I understand where this guy is coming from, but you still need to pay for whatever it is that you've done.
Okay, interesting.
Wow. That is quite intense.
So we're just talking about balancing, and we know that you have like a really successful acting career. You're also married with 2 lovely kids. I want to ask how you balance your family life and then your career.
So I tried to do the balancing thing early on, and then I realized balancing doesn't really work in the sense that we're trying to make it like,
Have time for your family and work.
I don't even bother. So what I do now is when I'm working, I'm working. I'm 100% actor, and when I'm at home, I'm at home.
Right.
Like, if you're not careful, you can't even reach me because my phone's probably switched off. You can only reach, my team, because I'm 100% at home. And my boys, my little men actually, because those guys, they can't be boys. They take all the time and attention. So I want to be there for them. And that's kind of like how I make it work. And it takes a toll, especially on your relationships. I thought I could get away with it for a long time, thinking, at least I'm bringing money home, so everybody knows. But no, as a rule, we don't watch TV. Yeah. For a long time, we wouldn't watch certain stations because my films would show on those stations, and I was like, we had the conversation. Like, there's no need for you to see these things, okay?
But that's not you can't avoid that right now.
So we've been watching Netflix for years,
and now you're on.
I'm like, okay, can we switch to Amazon?
Okay, really interesting. We do have another message here from James. Says, hello Nicci and Eve. Is there anything we can do to sustain the level of professionalism we are now seeing in the profession? A lot is still below par due to the level of professionalism in the industry. Will you say true art form is being practiced, or is it still about money?
So this new generation of filmmakers, and filmmakers cut across the cast and crew, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully, are, for the majority part. Even back in the day, we had some, and you see the really successful actors were the professionals, right?
True.
But thankfully now we have even more of us. Like, I studied chemical engineering. I had a career in corporate. I was in sales marketing for many years. So when I switched over and pivoted into acting, I came with the 9-to-5 mindset. I'm going to work, minding my business. When you go home. I wasn't about there was no lifestyle that we're trying to achieve. No. Just quietly do your thing, make your money, and go home. And so professionalism has started. We're starting to see a lot of it, cut across the industry, and that's really why we're seeing the changes that we're seeing. That's why you can have a Blood Sisters do what it's doing, because that's probably one of the most professional sets I've ever been on. Everybody brought their A game.
Wow. Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah, and they were paid very well.
Of course.
I mean, so
all right.
Another message.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm going to say, the people sending in this messages are very hilarious. So this one says, I should ask you how you handle female attention, because Nigerian women are the most determined in the world. So do you have a format for escaping them, or do you go with the flow? This is from Dilly.
So the trick for me was make home so comfortable that nobody sees me out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hardly ever would I be in a position where but it's happened. I remember I was out the other night. I won't mention where. I was out the other night.
Wow.
And some girl came up to me, and she was dancing, because my boys and I were dancing.
Yeah.
With some female friends of ours as well. We were chilling. I was alone. My assistant was with me. And then one girl walked up to the fan. Hey, hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, how you doing? And then she starts to dance, and I'm like, okay, let me not be too stiff. Okay. So I just busting some moves. Next, she just moves in closer. I'm like,
Okay.
she's moving closer and closer. Next thing, she puts her arm around my neck. She's trying to kiss me. One of my female friends just said, please, that's my husband. Can you leave him alone? I'm telling you.
Wow.
That's how I got out of that. Before you just see my name on.
They will just see you everywhere.
Somewhere.
Spotted at
Deyemi, locking lip
with an unknown woman.
Exactly.
An unknown lover. All right, before we wrap it up, I know that because I'm sure you get this a lot and you've seen it a lot. People probably send you messages, DM, emails. Please, I want to ask. Please, I want to do this. Please, I want to do that. Yeah, I know. So right now, we want you to just, tell everyone who is trying to get into whatever. Now, it's not just about acting. Whatever profession or, career they want to pursue. What advice would you give up and coming generations?
Oh my word. So the funny thing is, over the last 2-3 days, I've been tweeting a lot about my experience. In fact, I tweeted something and said 5 ways. Somebody was saying producers always only hire known faces, which isn't really true. But there's this mentality that we're starting to see, and you can see a lot of it on social media. And the person said, that they only want to hire known faces. So I responded with, here are 5 ways to become a known face.
Wow.
How about that, right? So instead of asking them to hire an unknown face, why don't you figure out how to become a known face, so that you get hired? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
I tweeted about that. But essentially, one of the struggles that I've seen about creatives is they understand the creative part of the business, the art of the business, of what you're doing. Actors know how to act. They're talented. The craft of acting, they know that. I've seen beautiful actors, people that will act circles around me, but then they do not understand the business of acting. And the business of acting is really about sitting down and figuring out. It's almost like doing a business plan for a product or a service, because you're a service provider, right? So you figure out who your target market is. First of all, define yourself as a service. Set your goals, figure out who you need to work with, who your target audience is, how you're going to contact them, where you can find them, how you're going to communicate your value to them, how you keep that going. And it's very important, because here we don't even have such a robust industry where you have managers or agents that can do that for you. So you need to understand that for yourself. And I did that starting out. I made all the moves. I had my plan clearly spelled out. And I think people focus too much on just wanting to be actors. When they reach out to me and tell me they want to be I'm like, first of all, it's not a very easy job. I don't wish it on a lot of people. But if you do decide that you really are passionate about it, and my idea of passion is not desire, it's not I want to, it's I've done this before, now I want to be serious about it. That's passion. And so I tell people a lot of times, hone your craft on the one hand, but also understand the business, understand the industry that you're claiming that you want to be in. Don't be sending DMs to actors. It just tells me that you don't know anything about the industry, because an actor is the least likely person to help you.
True that.
Your target audience, really, your target market is a producer. Who's going to hire you is the audience who's going to consume your content, and the media who's going to amplify, which is why I'm here today.
Right.
Yes.
Wow,
okay.
that's some what do we call it? Gems of knowledge. Some gems right there.
Just right here from Deyemi himself.
Yes.
So what's next for you? What are we anticipating? What should we look forward to? I like the way you're smiling.
That smile is like, I'm not gonna say much. Just watch out.
Okay, I'll tell you one or two.
Okay.
So the next big thing. Wale Soyinka wrote a book, a stage play, many years ago, called Death and the King's Horseman.
Wow.
And it has just recently been adapted, to film.
Okay.
And shot, produced by Ebony Life, in collaboration with Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm seeing another number one. Maybe this time number one globally on Netflix.
So it's called The King's Horseman, and it is going to be amazing. Like I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
And then because Netflix is a global phenomenon, it operates across the world. There have been conversations with Netflix producers across the world. So very likely, by the grace of God, my eyes are closed, my head is bent. I'm praying. This is a prayer. By the grace of God.
Yes.
There's a Washington.
Love it.
We shall see you soon.
We global now.
I know, right?
We global now.
I know.
One more question, because they actually do have to wrap it up. Is asking, what's your beauty regimen? What do you do?
Beauty what?
Yeah, you got some melanin and things.
Nothing. If I remember, I would use Vaseline. If I remember, I would. I don't know that there's anything more. Anything I do consistently would be lip balm. Literally, it's plug and play.
Skincare.
It's,
Why?
Some are.
So I'm the brand ambassador for Premier Cool.
Okay.
And that's all I use. I get into the bathroom, take a nice shower, and I'm done. I don't think I need anything else. We have natural beauty. We just like nothing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay.
If I dare you to come out of the house with just soap.
What?
Just YouTube and come on.
Why are you looking at me right now? No, don't hate. Well, I'm afraid this is all we can take. I mean, this interview has been very interesting.
Absolutely.
And we had a great conversation. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. But
Thank you.
Please tell us how you can find you on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever.
It depends on the part of me that you want. If you're looking for fine boy, forming sexy all over the place, go to my Instagram, Deyemi the actor. If you're looking for a more serious person who's trying to enlighten people, you can go to my Twitter. But Twitter is like online version of hell. So be careful. I only go there once in a while.
Wow.
TikTok.
Are you giving you dancing skills on TikTok?
No. I don't really think so. It's at our age. We have
It's our age. Why?
I just think whatever.
But think about it. Is that your dancing that made that girl come and dance with you?
I mean,
that's why I should not be dancing. Thank you very much. And then I've got a YouTube channel where I put up stuff that is coming. Some of my short films, some of my I did skits one time. You guys might want to check out the skits.
I will definitely be doing that.
Okay. All right, we do have to go now. Thank you so much, Deyemi, for being on the show and talking about this with us. It was definitely an interesting conversation.
Of course, I totally agree.
We wish you all the best in your acting career, and
hopefully to see you back again.
Yes. We hope that we'll be having another conversation like this sometime in the future.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Dial is still tuning up. That's Law FM 103.9. Don't go anywhere. This is still the Law FM Entertainment Daily with Nicci and Eve.
As a glamour girl, life comes at you abruptly with situations that stop you in your tracks. 1 minute, you are living to the fullest. And the next, you're running for your life with your blood sister.
But no matter how far or how hard, as a man of God, can you ever outrun who you truly are? Explore the drama, betrayal, and suspense of our stories in our upcoming films, Man of God, Blood Sisters, and